In our modern world, we have come to see our dreams as little more than the brain's nightly house cleaning. They are the junk mail of the subconscious, the random firing of neurons, a chaotic and meaningless collage of the day's anxieties and desires. We are taught to dismiss them, to forget them the moment we wake, to see them as a flimsy and unreliable byproduct of a purely biological process. But what if this is a profound and tragic misunderstanding? What if the ancients, and the ancient Egyptians in particular, knew something about the nature of sleep and dreams that we have almost completely forgotten? What if they knew that our dreams are not chaos but a gateway? The ancient Egyptians possessed a map of consciousness that was vastly more complex and more profound than our own. For them, the physical world was not the only reality. It was merely the most dense and visible layer of a multi-dimensional cosmos. Interpenetrating our world was a vast, unseen and powerfully alive realm they called the Duat. The Duat was not a hell or an underworld in the simple sense. It was the otherworldly realm of the gods, the resting place of the spirits of the dead, and the dynamic, energetic landscape where the great forces of creation and destruction were in constant generative motion. It was, in a sense, the invisible operating system of the universe, the sacred blueprint from which our physical reality was projected. And for the Egyptians, the state of sleep was not a state of unconsciousness. It was a sacred and perilous journey. They believed that each night, a part of our soul temporarily separates from the physical body and travels through the great gates of the Duat. This was not a fantasy. It was a fundamental truth of their existence, but they were not content to be mere passive tourists in this divine realm, tossed about by the chaotic currents of the dream world. They were master navigators. They were psychonauts of the highest order, and they developed a complete and sophisticated system, a sacred technology to consciously and deliberately chart their course through the Duat. This is the great forgotten secret of the Egyptian dream system. They learned how to program their dreams. They developed a series of powerful and precise rituals designed to allow them to enter the dream state with a single focused intention, to ask a direct question of the divine intelligence of the cosmos, and to receive a clear, symbolic and actionable answer. This was the source of their most profound wisdom, and this ability, this direct line to the universal mind, is what we would today call superhuman intelligence. It is the source of prophetic insight, of creative genius, of the solutions to impossible problems, and of a direct living connection to the eternal wisdom of your own soul. In this journey together, we will unveil that complete forgotten system. We will open the gates of the Duat, the dreamers of Memphis, a forgotten science. The Egyptians believed that during the state of sleep, the Ba could separate from the sleeping body and undertake a great journey, soaring through the mysterious otherworldly realm of the Duat. To truly comprehend the depth and sophistication of the Egyptian dream system, we must first understand their intricate and beautiful model of the human soul. For the ancient Egyptians, the soul was not a single simple entity. The Bas is the personality soul, the part of you that contains your unique character, your memories, your essence. It was often depicted in their sacred art as a human-headed bird, a magnificent being that represented the soul's mobility, its ability to fly free from the confines of the physical form. This nightly separation was not seen as dangerous or as a mere fantasy. It was a natural and necessary process, a sacred pilgrimage that the soul undertook to gather knowledge, to commune with the gods, and to interact with the divine forces that governed the cosmos. And later, in the Greco-Egyptian period, the syncretic god Serapis, who presided over great healing centers where dream incubation was the primary form of medicine. The process was a formal and sacred ritual. A seeker would arrive at the temple and undergo a series of purification rites, cleansing their body and mind to become a pure vessel for divine communication. They would then sleep within a special consecrated chamber, an inner sanctum of the temple, with the single focused goal of receiving a direct and meaningful dream sent by the temple's resident god. The dream they sought was not for entertainment. It was a diagnostic tool to reveal the hidden cause of an illness, a prophetic vision to guide a crucial life decision, or a direct healing intervention from the god itself. This practice elevates the importance of dreams from personal curiosities to a central pillar of the civilization itself. For the Egyptian elite, for the pharaohs and the high priests, dreams were not fantasy. They were a primary and indispensable source of divine intelligence. Dream interpretation was a formal, respected and sacred science, essential for the stability, prosperity and spiritual health of the entire kingdom. The second key component is the Ka. The Ka is the vital, spiritual double, the life force that is born with you and acts as an anchor for your existence in the material world. While the bar traveled, the car remained with the physical body, providing a continuous source of energy and a stable homing beacon to which the bar could always return. We know from ancient papyri that have survived the millennia, such as the Chester Beatty papyri, that dreams were a critical tool for statecraft. A pharaoh might use a divinely inspired dream to decide whether to go to war or to forge a peace treaty. He might receive a dream that would guide him on where to build a new temple or how to interpret a celestial omen. The dream interpreters were not fringe mystics. They were high-ranking and respected court officials, scholars who had spent their lives learning to decode the sacred symbolic language of the Duat. The Egyptians knew that the dream state was a direct line to a higher form of intelligence, and they built a sophisticated, ritualized and sacred science to access and understand its profound and life-altering messages. The Sekhem-Ka ritual, the art of dream incubation. We have explored the profound importance the ancient Egyptians placed upon the dream world. We have seen how they viewed sleep not as a state of unconsciousness, but as a sacred journey of the soul through the divine realm of the Duat. Now we move from the philosophical foundation to the practical application. We will now unveil the forgotten ritual itself, a sacred technology for programming the subconscious mind to receive a direct and specific answer to a question in a dream. This is the heart of the Egyptian dream system, a process we can call the Sekhem-Ka ritual. The ritual for empowering the spirit. This is not a matter of passive hope. It is a precise multi-stage process, a conscious and deliberate act of spiritual engineering. The first step of the ritual is the purification. To receive a clear message from the divine, the seeker must first become a pure and clear vessel. The body and mind must be cleansed of the chaotic noise and psychic residue of the mundane world. This process begins with physical cleansing. The ancient priest would perform a ritual bath, often using water infused with natron salt, a substance used for both physical and spiritual purification. For the modern practitioner, this can be a quiet, intentional bath or shower. The key is the intention. As you wash your body, you must hold the intention of washing away not just the dirt of the day, but the anxieties, the frustrations, and the attachments of your waking life. You are preparing your physical form to be a temple. Next comes dietary restriction. For the 12 to 24 hours before you perform the ritual, you must engage in a light fast or avoid certain foods. Heavy meals, meat, alcohol, and other stimulants create a dense, low-frequency energy in the body. This creates a kind of static that can cloud the dream state and distort the messages you receive. The Egyptians understood that a light body leads to a light spirit, a spirit that can travel more freely in the higher realms. A simple meal of fruits or vegetables, or a short period of fasting, is the ideal preparation. Finally, you must undertake a mental cleansing. In the hour before you plan to sleep, you must create a space of absolute quiet and contemplation. You must release the day's anxieties. You must let go of your to-do lists and your worries for tomorrow. This can be done through a simple silent meditation, focusing only on the rhythm of your breath. Your mind is like a cup filled with the murky water of daily life. You cannot receive the clear water of divine wisdom until you have first emptied your cup. This period of quiet contemplation is the act of emptying. You are making yourself a clean and receptive channel for the wisdom of the Duat to flow through. The second step is the invocation and the question. This is the heart of the ritual. The moment you focus your intention and send your call out into the cosmos. First, you must create a sacred space in the room where you will sleep. You may light a single candle. You may burn a sacred incense like frankincense or myrrh, which the Egyptians used extensively to consecrate their temples and to aid in spiritual journeys. The goal is to create an atmosphere of reverence and to signal to your deeper self that you are about to engage in a sacred act. Now you must formulate your question. This is a crucial and delicate art. The question must be single, clear, and specific. Vague questions will receive vague and confusing answers. Do not ask a question with multiple parts. Do not ask a question that can be answered with a simple yes or no. Ask an open-ended question that invites a symbolic guiding answer. For example, instead of asking, "Should I quit my job?" you might ask, "Show me the path that is most aligned with my true purpose." Instead of asking, "Is this person the one for me?" you might ask, "Reveal the true nature of the connection between myself and this person." Once you have your question, you must perform the sacred act of writing it down. The Egyptians would have used a fresh piece of papyrus and a reed pen. For the modern practitioner, a clean new piece of paper and a special pen will suffice. The physical act of writing is an act of magic. It takes the formless energy of your intention, and it solidifies it. It anchors it in the material world. This written question becomes a powerful talisman, a direct link between your waking mind and your dreaming soul. With your question written, you now perform the formal invocation. You hold the paper in your hands, and you speak a powerful prayer to the divine intelligence you are seeking to communicate with. The ancient Egyptians would often call upon the great god Thoth, the ibis-headed scribe of the gods, the master of wisdom, magic, and the interpretation of dreams. A sample invocation, in the spirit of the ancients, might sound like this. I call upon the great and wise Thoth, the tongue of Ra, the heart of the Creator. I, a humble seeker of your wisdom, have prepared my vessel. I have cleansed my body and quieted my mind. I hold in my hands a question that springs from the depths of my soul. I ask you to guide my Ba, my spirit, through the gates of the Duat tonight. Protect me on my journey. Grant me a dream that is clear, true, and rich with the symbolism of your divine knowledge. And grant me the wisdom upon my waking to understand the sacred hieroglyph of its message. This formal prayer is a powerful act of intention. It is a polite but firm knock on the door of the other world. The third and final step is the gateway of sleep. This is the delicate and precise sequence of actions you perform at the very moment you are falling asleep. The moment you are programming your subconscious mind and giving your Baba soul its final flight instructions. First, you take the piece of paper with your written question, and you place it under your pillow or your headrest. This symbolic act transforms your bed from a simple piece of furniture into a sacred altar, the launching point for your journey. The physical presence of the question under your head acts as a constant energetic reminder of your mission throughout the night. Second, as you lie down to sleep, you close your eyes and you begin to repeat a mantra. This can be the question itself, repeated over and over, softly and rhythmically in your mind. Or it can be a sacred phrase that attunes your consciousness to the divine. A simple and powerful Egyptian mantra for this purpose could be Nukba en Neta, I am a soul of God. The purpose of this repetition is to bypass the conscious analytical mind. You are impressing your intention directly onto the receptive, fertile soil of your subconscious, as it enters the dream state. Finally, as you feel yourself drifting into the liminal state, that magical hazy borderland between waking and sleeping, you must hold your final clear intention. You are not just hoping for a dream, you are programming your consciousness with a direct and sovereign command. Your final thought before you lose consciousness should be the intention to seek the answer to your question, and to return to your body in the morning with a memory of the dream that is clear, complete, and ready for decoding. This final act of will, this focused and unwavering intention, is the key that unlocks the great gates of the Duat and transforms a night of ordinary sleep into a sacred and purposeful journey of the soul. If this exploration resonated with the part of you that knows there is more to reality than what we see, then our journey together has only just begun. Each week we delve into the profound mysteries of consciousness, from ancient wisdom to modern science, to help unlock the secrets of your own magnificent being. Subscribe and activate the bell to join a community of fellow navigators and seekers. Let's continue to explore the unseen together. Part 4. The Hieroglyphs of the Soul. Decoding the Messages. Receiving a divine dream through the sacred ritual is only the first part of the process. The second, and equally crucial part, is the art of decoding it. The messages of the Duat are fragile. They are like inscriptions written on water, shimmering and clear in the moment of waking, but evaporating within minutes in the harsh analytical light of the conscious mind. Therefore, the first and most critical action upon your return is to honor the message by recording it. Before you move, before you speak to anyone, before the mundane world rushes in to reclaim your attention, you must become the sacred scribe of your own soul. You must keep a journal and a pen by your bedside for this specific purpose. The very first thing you do upon opening your eyes is to reach for this journal and write down everything you can remember. Do not judge or censor the content. Do not worry if it makes logical sense. Your task is to be a perfect scribe, not a critic. Record every detail, no matter how strange or seemingly insignificant. Write down the characters and the gods you encountered. Describe the landscapes and the buildings. Note the colors, the sounds, and the symbols. Most importantly, record the feelings the dream evoked in you. Were you afraid? Were you at peace? Were you filled with a sense of awe? These details are the very grammar of the soul's language. This act of writing is a sacred duty. It honors the message you have received, and it anchors the subtle, ethereal wisdom of the other world into this one, so that its power is not lost. The first principle: symbolic, not literal. Egyptian dream interpretation was a sophisticated and subtle art, and its first principle is one that our modern, literal minds often struggle with. The language of the Duat is symbolic, not literal. A dream was not a direct snapshot of the future, like a scene from a film. It was a symbolic message, a sacred poem, a hieroglyph of the soul that required careful and intuitive decoding. To understand your dream, you must learn to think like an Egyptian priest, to look past the surface image and into the deep archetypal meaning it represents. If you dreamt of a cat, the message wasn't about a feline you might encounter the next day. The cat is a symbol of the goddess Bastet. The dream was therefore a communication from, or about her attributes of home, protection, fertility, and sensuality. If you dreamt of a great flood, it wasn't a weather forecast. It was a symbolic message about being overwhelmed by powerful emotions, or perhaps about a great and necessary purification that was coming into your life. The goal is not to read the dream like a newspaper which reports on the facts of the world. The goal is to read the dream like a sacred text which reveals the truths of the soul. The second principle: the law of opposites. A key and fascinating principle found in the surviving ancient Egyptian dream books, like the Chestabati papyri, is what we can call the law of opposites. This is a sophisticated psychological concept which holds that some dreams, particularly those involving strong emotions or dramatic events, signify their direct opposite. This was not a random guess, but a deep intuitive understanding of the compensatory nature of the psyche. The subconscious mind, in its infinite wisdom, often communicates through paradox. For example, according to these ancient texts, a dream of death was often interpreted as a good dream, a prophecy of a long and healthy life. A dream of a great feast, of having an abundance of food and drink, could be a bad dream, a warning of impending poverty or famine. This principle recognizes that the soul seeks balance. By showing you an image of one extreme, it may be warning you of, or preparing you for, the arrival of its polar opposite. It is a caution against complacency in good times, and a message of hope in dark times. When you have a dream that seems overwhelmingly positive or negative, you must hold it lightly and ask the question, what might the opposite of this mean for me? This adds a layer of profound depth and subtlety to your interpretation. A lexicon of the Duat, common dream symbols. While every dream is deeply personal, certain powerful archetypal symbols had consistent and foundational meanings in the Egyptian system. Understanding this basic lexicon is essential for decoding the messages of your journey. The Nile River was the source of all life in Egypt, and in dreams it represented the flow of life itself. It symbolized the great cosmic cycles of birth, death, and rebirth, and the personal journey of your own soul. The state of the river in your dream was of critical importance. Was it calm and flowing, or was it a chaotic flood? The scarab beetle was a powerful and sacred symbol of rebirth, regeneration, and spontaneous creation. The Egyptians observed the scarab rolling a ball of dung, from which new beetles would emerge as if from nothing. To dream of a scarab was almost always a powerful and positive omen, a sign that a new beginning was at hand, that you were on the verge of a profound personal transformation. The ankh was the hieroglyph for life, and was known as the key of life. In a dream, it was an overwhelmingly positive symbol, representing eternal life, the divine spark within you, and the union of opposites. To be given an ankh in a dream by a god was a sign of a profound spiritual blessing. To dream of the god Thoth was a sign that the dream itself was a direct, clear, and truthful message. As the divine scribe and the god of wisdom, his appearance was a confirmation of the dream's importance. It signified the arrival of divine wisdom, knowledge, clarity, and the successful outcome of your ritual. To dream of the jackal-headed god, Anubis was not a fearful sign of physical death. Anubis was the opener of the ways, the guide through the darkness of the underworld. To dream of him was a sign of guidance and protection. It meant that you were being safely guided through a difficult life transition, a period of uncertainty, or a journey into the unknown territories of your own soul. Part 5. Waking the God Mind. This is the complete system. We have now journeyed through the great and forgotten landscape of the ancient Egyptian dream system. We began by reframing the very nature of sleep, seeing it not as a state of unconsciousness, but as a sacred nightly journey of the soul into the divine realm of the Duat. We have unveiled the forgotten ritual of Sekhem-Ka, the precise step-by-step technology of purification, invocation and intention used to consciously program the subconscious mind for a specific purpose. And we have learned the foundational principles of their art of symbolic interpretation, understanding that dreams are not literal reports, but are sacred, symbolic hieroglyphs of the soul, which sometimes speak in the paradoxical language of opposites. This is the complete system, a worldview that honors the journey, a ritual that directs it, and a wisdom that decodes its messages, redefining superhuman intelligence. Let us now return to the promise we made at the beginning of our journey, the promise of unlocking superhuman intelligence. It is crucial now that we have explored the depths of this practice to redefine this term. This ancient science is not about developing comic book superpowers. It is not a path to bending spoons with your mind or levitating off the ground. The intelligence it unlocks is something far more profound, more real, and more useful. It is about achieving a state of gnosis. Gnosis is the direct, intuitive, and ongoing connection to the deep intelligence of your own soul and the very fabric of the universe. It is the ability to access a level of wisdom, creativity, and problem-solving that transcends the limited, logical, and anxious ego mind. It is the quieting of the surface noise so that you can finally hear the profound, guiding whisper of your higher self. Tracing this is the very intelligence that the Egyptians personified as their gods. To connect with thought in a dream was to connect with the principle of divine wisdom that already exists within you. To achieve this state of gnosis is to become your own oracle, to find the source of the answers not in an external text or teacher, but in the living divine library of your own soul. The final message of this ancient and forgotten system is a profound and empowering invitation. It is a call to see your own sleep not as a passive state of biological rest, but as a nightly opportunity for a sacred journey. It is an invitation to see your dreams not as meaningless chaos, but as a direct and personal dialogue with your higher self and the intelligence of the cosmos. The great secret of the Egyptians is that you do not have to be a passive passenger on this nightly voyage. You can become the captain. The call, therefore, is to become a modern dreamer of Memphis. It is to take these ancient, forgotten rituals and to breathe new life into them in our modern world. It is to have the courage to treat your own consciousness with the same reverence and dedication as the highest priests of the ancient world. The purpose is to use this sacred technology to unlock the divine God mind that already resides within you. You do not need to build a temple of stone. Your own body, when purified, is the temple. Your own intention, when focused, is the invocation. And your own mind, when opened, is the gateway to the infinite.